welcome to, what day is it? It's Friday, Friday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic. I should know these things. And today, what have we got for you? We have got a puzzle by Quinlux. And this is the next one in his series of build your own puzzles. And this one is build your own sandwich Sudoku, which is, it sounds brilliant. Testing reports are that it is brilliant. It's been heavily recommended by our Discord server as well. So we should be in for a treat tonight. You can see that's when I'm recording this. And a couple of things to mention first. If you own Thermo Sudoku, I now have it on good authority that the update is live. So our Thermo Sudoku app has lots and lots of new puzzles for your delectation. So enjoy those. And what else have we got to tell you? Well, today is the first of the month, and that means if you're a patron of the channel, get over to Patreon and play DiMono's sequel to Everything Is Wrogn, because that is now out as well. It's already been getting some lovely comments, and we know you'll enjoy it. So yeah, do check that out. And that's all. You can see I'm still, and I think for some time I'm going to be on my laptop waiting for a new computer to arrive, because basically my old Windows 7 has finally given up the ghost. I am now coming to terms with the loss. It's not easy. It's been with me a long time, but yeah, I think we have to bite the bullet. So it's going to be laptop for the foreseeable future. But I've been pleased to see that the comments are saying that the audio and the video has been up to snuff. So that's good stuff. And I will read you the rules of Quinlux's puzzle right now. Oh, by the way, this came in sort of two varieties. There is a coloured variety here, which is really beautiful. But Mark has said that we need to... Mark's already done the puzzle. He said that we need to do it using sort of colourblind neutral things, because, well... I think he's feeling sorry for me here, because you have to be able to tell the difference between all these colours in order to do the colour version. So I will put a colour version under the link under the puzzle. And I think Quinlux intended it to be a colouring sort of puzzle. So I think it's saying that the blue clue here is some way equivalent to the blue clue on the right. But seeing as I don't know the rules yet, I'm not sure. So anyway, that's not what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing this version, which ought to be... colourblind friendly. I'll read you the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Additionally, there are clues scattered around the grid which correspond to sandwich clues of the same colour on the outside of the grid. So where colour is used there, you can see we're using letters. So I'm just trying to see K here. Is K there? So this K and this K correspond somehow in a way I'm just about to reveal. Each clue in the grid is either a 2 or 1 digit number, read left to right or up down, and must be determined by the solver. Once the clues have been determined, normal sandwich clues apply. Clues outside the grid show the sum of the digits sandwiched between the 1 and the 9 in its row or column. Okay, let me just think about this for a second and see if I can explain it. Right, so I think what that's saying is that this cage here, let's say that that's a 2 and that's a 5. If this is 25, I think this D clue outside the grid is a sandwich clue, a 25 sandwich clue. So between the 1 and the 9 in this row, let's say the 9 was here and the 1 was there, those cells would have to sum up to 25. That's how it's working, I think. So you can see some of the sandwich clues are 2-digit numbers and some of them are 1-digit numbers, but each cage, if you like, has an equivalent sandwich clue outside the grid. And it looks like just the digits, or just the letters A to J have been used without I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh no, there's L and K, sorry, as well. I've missed those. So there are quite a few clues to be worked through. So, do have a go. On one of the links, the way to play is to click the link under the video. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, I have not got a clue what to do here. But I suppose the 2-digit clues are the place we start, because one thing I do know about sandwich Sudoku is that you can never have a sandwich clue that's greater than 35, and the reason for that, of course, is if we put 1 and 9 as far away from each other in a row as we possibly can, those cells, because of the secret, now the secret which we do let on from time to time, is that any row of a Sudoku, any column of a Sudoku, any box of a Sudoku, we know will contain all of the digits from 1 to 9. Now, if you add up the digits 1 to 9, you get 45. 45 is sort of the equivalent of Douglas Adams' 42. It is the secret to everything. Because if I know that the whole row adds to 45, and I know the sandwich clue is summing the cells between the 1 and the 9 in the row, what's the maximum value of the sort of sandwich filling? Well, it's 45 minus 1 minus 9, so it's 35. Now that means that each one of these tens digits in the sandwich clues has to be a 1, 2 or a 3, I think. So let's do that. There's a 1, 2, 3 triple now in the central box of the grid. Right. Actually, let us think about this. In fact, I'm going to colour these straight away, because this 1, 2, 3 triple is relating to clues that are D, L and C. This is the C clue coming down here. This is the L clue coming across here. And this is the D clue coming across here. So these clues interact with their sandwich totals. So surely 3 is going to be incredibly difficult. Oh, I see. They never quite align. But I can see that can't be 3. Because if the C clue begins with a 30 number, you can see that the 1 will have to be in one of those two positions. And that won't work. Why won't it work? Well, let's try a 1 in that position. And obviously it's symmetrically equivalent to this. But you'll be suggesting it's possible to make those 4 squares add up to a number that begins with 30. Well, even if I can't even make those 8, 7, 6 and 5, but even if I could, 8, 7, 6 and 5 is only 26. So we can never do that. That cannot be a 3. So we can get rid of 3 from there. And one of those two is going to have to be the 3. That one would be saying L is 3, but that looks possible at first blush. I don't know whether that's true. That couldn't be a 1. If this is a 3, that can't be a 1 because this is the L clue. So this would have to be 2. That would have to be 1. Oh, sorry, it's obvious. It's the same logic here. This can't be 3. It's similar to whether the C can be 3. If we make D 3, you can see these two squares now have to include the 1, and the logic is analogous. We've got to have a 1 either here or here. So the furthest away you can possibly put the 9 is a 4-cell sandwich filling, and 4 cells can't add up to 30. That's really beautiful. It's just very simple and very beautiful. And it means we can place a digit. Because now if this can't be 3, and it can't, we've got, oh, whoopsie, that must be a 3. So L is 3, and that's great because that fixes that this can't be 1. For exactly the same reason we've just been talking about. If we make this 1, the furthest away we can put the 9 is here. The sandwich would be a 4-cell filling. That's not going to work. So the 2 and the 1 go in, and we have a beginning in the puzzle. And now the L clue must be restricted, surely. So let me just think about this for a second, try and understand what's going on. So the L clue, which is this clue here, we know the 1 and the 9 have to be quite far apart because this clue here well, that could be 31, couldn't it? But if it's not 31, it has to be 35. because 32 wouldn't be possible, 33 would repeat the 3 in the column, and 34 is an impossible sandwich total, because 34 would require an outie, as I like to call them, of 1. Because if we make those squares add up to 34, 34 plus 9 plus 1 is 44, so there would have to be a 1 outside the sandwich, which would repeat the 1 in the row. So we know actually now, I think, that this square is a 1 or a 4, not a 1 or a 5, apologies. Now, if it's 31, you'd have to have a 4 outside, so there would be a 4 in one of those two squares. Which I can't see why that's not possible, so okay, I'm not sure. What about the D clue? So the D clue is a 20 clue going from aha! I have progress. In fact, I've got 2 lots of progress, because that's got to be a 4. Now, this is very, very clever, again, from Quinlux. It's what you come to expect. But this square, what is it? Now, we've got to make a total of 20-something from this 1 as the sandwich filling. Well, we can't make those 2 squares add up to 20-something. That's impossible. So, let's come this way instead. Now, what's the maximum I can make these 4 squares? Well, the maximum... Let's put the 9 as far away as we can. The maximum these 3 squares could be would be 8, 7 and 6, which add up to 21. So if they're 21, 21 plus 3 is 24. That is the absolute maximum I can put into this square. Well, I can't put zeros in the Sudoku, so that has to be it, because 1, 2 and 3 are not available as the units digit. That is 24, this is 9, and these squares are 6, 7 and 8. And why did I say this is killing 2 birds with 1 stone, which I didn't exactly say, but I sort of implied it? It's because the L clue is now forced. Because now this square can't be 31. Because if it's 31, you need to have an outie of 4. So let's just prove that to ourselves. Let's make this square a 1 and this square a 9. We now know these would be 31. 31 plus 10 is 41, so you need to put a cell or cells outside the sandwich that sum to 4. Well, you can't put 1 and 3 outside, you'll repeat the 1, and you can't put 4 outside if there's a 4 already in the sandwich. So instead, what we've got to do is make this square a 5. Now this can't be 1, this can't be 9, so it's got to be 1, and that's got to be 9, and we are cooking with gas. And F is now there. F is here. Oh, okay, so we don't know what F is, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to colour those squares in, because I know those 2 squares have to be the same digit. So I'll make those purple instead now. So I've now done L. D is 24. I've done D as well. So I've done L and D. 1 is not in J anymore. So J is 2 or 3. Where's J? Over here. Okay, so now I've got a 2, 3 pair in row 1, because this square cannot be a 1, because I can't make those squares add up to either 20 or 30 something. So that can't be 1. So the 1 is lower. The 1 must be at least here. Oh, in fact the 1 is placed, isn't it, in this column? Because even if this is the lowest it could possibly be, let's make this 21. That's going to require at least 3 cells of sandwich. So the crust could be at best here. I could put a 1 here, but I can't put a 1 in A, because that implies that this would be a sandwich clue equal to 1. So that would imply this had to be the arrangement in this column. You have to put a 1 inside the 1 and the 9, and that's going to be Wrogn. So the 1 must go here, I think. What a clever puzzle. Now, what does all that mean? So I've now got a 2, 3 pair here. These squares are representative of J. Actually, I can colour those in as well. Those are the same. Make those blue. So this can't be a 3. Because even if this was 31, you can't make 4 squares add up to 31 inside the sandwich. Even outside, even if there was a 9 involved, you couldn't make 4 squares add up to 31. So this is a 2. That's a 3. G is going to be interesting now. This is not 2. So these squares, not sure what we know about those, but G, let's have a look at G. G is here. So this square is probably the crucial one. Yeah, okay, well that's only got 2 options. This units digit here, we're looking for a 30-something sandwich total. We can't put 0 in here. And we can't put 1 in here because of Sudoku. 2 would work. That would require outies in this column of 3, which might be a problem with that 3. We'll think about that in a second. 33 you can't do, you'd repeat the 3. 34 we've already said is an impossible sandwich total. So this is either 32 or 35. Now if it's 35, you'd have to put the 1s and the 9s there, and you would know the order because of the 1 here. So you'd have a 9 here and a 1 here. Is that an issue? There's no sandwich clue here, so I don't know that we can... And there's no sandwich clue here. This would be a 3 clue. Not sure. Okay, if this was 32, let's think about that instead. Yeah, that's interesting. If this is 32 instead of 35, where would the 1s and the 9s go in this column? We know there would be exactly 1 square outside the sandwich. Well, this square could not be that square, because it would have to be a 3, because 32 requires an outie, a single outie of 3, which would clash here. So this square would have to be a 1 or a 9, and this square would have to be a 3. In fact, that would have to be a 1, and this would have to be a 9. But what this means is, in either version, whether this is 32 or 35, this square is a 1 or a 9. And we either have 3 here, and 1 here, and 9 here, or we have 9 here and 1 here. Okay, I'm sure many of you are shouting at me as to how I can resolve that. I have to say, though, I'm not seeing it. Sorry, I'm just not seeing how to do that. K. Oh, K is in this column. See, if K was 30-something, that would be tricky, wouldn't it? So if this is 1, this would have to be 35. Oh, is that it? Is that the point? If this is 1, this sandwich total here now can't be 31 or 32. It can't be 33 or 34. It would have to be 35. Now that's going to put the 1s and the 9s into these positions. I'll mark them in column 5. But if this is a 1, where do we know that the 9 is in this column? Well, we know that it's got to be here, because if this is 1, we know this is 35, because the only way this is 32 is if the outie is here with a 3, which makes this a 9. So when this is a 1, you have to put a 9 here. So there's going to be a 9 here, and this square needs to be a 1 or a 9, which it can't be. So that is not correct, and that means, come back here, we can say it's not possible for this to be a 1. This is a 9. And therefore, this is a 1. And therefore, this is a 2 or a E is 2 or 3. Oh no, hang on, what am I doing now? Sorry, I've just made a complete horlicks of that. 1 9 1 9 was the 35. 9 1. I've proved this is a 9, but once I do that, this square has to be the 1, that has to be the 3. I was wondering why I had 2 1s in the bottom row. Don't put 2 1s in the bottom row, it makes you look stupid in front of a lot of people. Okay. Okay, so we're now... Yeah, so now I know this is a 5. No, not a 5, a 2. Stop it, Simon. There's a 2 in one of these squares. Ah, J must be restricted now, surely. Because J is those squares, but I can, from the outies, I can hone in on the value of this square. So if this is, let's just try 25 just to see what it does. If this is 25, those are 25. 25 plus 10 is 35. These are adding up to 10. So that would put a 5 here. So there'd be double 5 there. Is that possible? Puts a 5 in here, possibly. Let's try a different digit. If that's 26, 26, 36. Oh, I see. So then those have add up to 9, which makes this a 4. So the key point, these aren't the same. What's happening is these are always adding up to 10. So if that's a 6, that's a 4. If that's a... it can't be 7 or 8, therefore, here, because that would put... We'd need a 2 or a 3 into this square. So we've got to go downwards. If this is 4, can this be 6? Yes. Okay, so 4 and 6 is possible. 3 and 7. Is that possible? Looks like it. So 3 and 7 is also on the cards here. And we can't go 2. Oh, can you go... Oh, no, you can't go 1 because that's going to put a 9 here. That's going to give you a big problem. So we've limited this very slightly. Okay, 1 by Sudoku, I've just noticed, has to go here. Let's do that. That's the most useless 1 in Christendom. Now what? So now, I still don't know whether this is 1 or 3. I do know one of those two squares is a 1 by the power of Sudoku. Okay. Sorry about this. One of those 3 squares is a 9. K. Well, a little bit. K is now, it's a 2-digit number. So this can't be 9 because you can't make this square equal to a 2-digit number. So that's not 9. I wonder if we can do that with any of the others. C? No. Oh, yeah, we can. That square can't be a 9 because this sandwich total would have to be 0. There would be no numbers between the 1 and the 9. A cannot be 0 because you can't put 0 in the grid. In fact, I've just noticed there are 2 A's in the grid. Oh, well, come back to that. That square can't be 9, so this square is 9. So C... okay. So C here, but it can't be 11, so this is at least 12. Now look, we've got a 2 here. So this can't be 1, because that would mean C was not 12, it would need to equal 2. That's not going to work. And this can't be 1 either, because even if I put 8 in here, which is the most I could, that would be 10, which is not at least 12. So I think we get the we get the 1 in column 4. those squares, therefore, and these squares are related. I think I can colour those in safely. Let's colour those in. Try and remember what's going on with C's. Okay. Now, have we got anywhere sensible to look next? I've got a 6. Okay, these squares have got to be 2, 4, and 5 in row 6. So this is 12, 14, or 15. There's probably a way of limiting that, but I can't see immediately what it is. Even 12 here would work with a 4, 6 pair. 14 would be a 6, 8. No, is that right? 14, I'd have to make these add up to 12 then. So that would have to be a 4, 8 pair. And 15, we need these to add up to 13, which would be a 6, 7 pair. I don't know. Hang on. If k is 30 something now, and it would have to be 30. K can't be 35. We've got a 1 here. That's impossible. And k cannot be any other 30 number. K is 1. Oh my goodness. So this is a teenage number, which means, where is the 9 in this column? It can't be here because I can't make that cell equal to a teenage number. It can't be here. That cell is not a teenage number. Oh, look at this. 9. Yeah, where does 9 go in this column? It can't be here because F is 9 and that would require me to put a 9 here, which would clash. So the 9 can't be there, can it? Or maybe it can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, the 9 can't be there by the power of Sudoku. Let's just use the simple thing rather than the complicated thing. So this is a 9. It's the only place a 9 can go in the column. That gives us a 2. 2's got to go down there. These 3 squares now are related to this this conflagration over here. Okay. I've got a lot of unknowns now. But at least I got this 9. Is that 9 doing me any more favours? It's giving me a 9 there. That's giving me a 9 in one of these 3 squares. I wonder if 9 can be H. Where's H? H is here. So the 1 is in one of those 2 squares. So H... Sorry, H can be where? Here. So if H was 9, the 1 would be here and this would be a 7. Don't see why that's impossible. Not exactly sure where I'm meant to be looking at the moment. 9 is in one of those 3 squares. Perhaps I can get rid of... Yeah, hang on. 9 can't be there, because then the A clue would have to be a 0. So 9 is not here. Oh, this is really beautiful. Here is some beautiful logic. A is in those 2 squares. So by Sudoku, A is in one of these 3 cells. So if this square was a 9... this sandwich total would be saying this square was equal to A. Well, that cannot simultaneously be true with this being an A. So the 9 is not here, the 9 is here. These 2 squares equal A. That's not 9. So A is in one of those 2 squares. A is in one of those two squares, which means... I'm not sure what that means, sorry. 3 by Sudoku is in one of those two squares. F. I've got another F here. I didn't... oh, goodness. There's 2 Fs in the grid. That's sneaky. Ah, good grief. Right, okay. I hadn't realised this, but look now. Look at this. Fs are beautiful. Because where does the F go? In box 5 by Sudoku, of all things. F is a single-digit number. So, by Sudoku, you can see F is either 3 or 1. So this square cannot be a 1 because it will clash. It can't be a 6, 7 or 8 because there's already F in the column. So F is 3. And all these digits become 3, I think. 3 goes in there. 3 goes in one of those two squares by Sudoku. Okay, I'm not sure what else that means, but that seems a big breakthrough, doesn't it? So 3 is affecting the value of A now. So maybe that's what I'm meant to do. Am I meant to look at the possible values of A? A seems to have a lot of possible, but maybe actually not. I've just seen there's a 5 in there as well. So 4, 6, 7 or 8 by Sudoku. Yeah, 4, 6, 7 or 8. So 4, 6, 7 or 8 into this square. And this domino, so we can rule out, we can rule 4 and 6 out immediately. I can't make this domino add up to 4. I'd need to use a 1. Or 6, I'd need to repeat the 3. Or 8. If this is 8, you have to go 3, 5 here, and there's a 5 in the box. A is 7. Okay. 7 in one of these two cells. This is now a 3, 4 pair. 4 is in up there. Can't remember. That was, what was that? C. So C is summing 6 plus 1 digit. So if this is a 2, we need a 4, 6 pair. If it's a 4, we need a 4, 8 pair. And if it's a 5, we need if it's a 5, we need a 4, 9 pair, and we can't do that. We can remove 5 from that square. And that means what exactly? I don't know. Okay, so where should we look next? Do we know anything about H? I think I've looked at H before and concluded I couldn't do anything with it. So which clues have I used? E. Have I used E yet? I don't think I've used E. That can't... oh, here we go. That can't be 9 because E would have to be 0. Sorry about this. I'm just not used to this puzzle type quite, and I'm being very slow in places. So 9 is now in one of these squares. Oh, that doesn't seem to really resolve very much. E... there's a little point with E. We know this square is inside the sandwich now because the 9 is in one of those squares. So this is like, it doesn't matter what this is. If this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9, it counts for itself. So the rest of the sandwich needs to add up to 10. Now does that tell us that if this was a 2-cell rest of the sandwich, these two squares would have to add up to 10. This would have to be 7, which it can't be, or 6, which it can be. Right, okay. Bobbins. If it's a 3-cell summing to 10, it would have to be 2, 3, 5. That might be possible as well. Okay. B. What do we know about B? Well, one thing I know about B is that B is a single-digit sandwich total. So if this was a 1, where would the 9 go? It couldn't go here. You can't make those squares add up to a single digit. So that can't be 1. You can't put the 9 here, or the total would be a 0. So that's a 1. We don't know whether the 9 is here because we don't know the total for this one. So is that giving us anything? Oh, Sudoku now comes to our rescue, gives us a 1 here. Now let's go back to B again. Oh, bother. Look, now B is a single digit total and the 9 in the column looks like it's in one of 2 places, both of which are 2 cells away. So that's not going to tell us anything. Okay. I really think I've done this puzzle in the most inefficient way possible. 4, 6. I need to put 7 in this column. Where does it go? It's got to go in one of those squares, and therefore it must go in the bottom cell. So this square is now 4, 6, or 8, which doesn't help because this is the units digit for the E clue. So H. Oh, I keep returning to the problem of H, don't I? I know what I should do. I should call AC12. They would be able to. There's a bit of a British TV series reference there. I'm not sure they'd be able to solve this, having said that. 2, 4. There's a 2, 4 pair in this box by Sudoku of all things. So these squares have to include a 5 now. So these squares have to include a 5 now, looking at Sudoku. Can B be 5? Star Wars BB8. No, okay. It can't be 5 going vertically. That would have to be a 2. And it can't be 5 going vertically this way because 2 here would require a 3 here and the 3 would repeat. 4 would need a 1 and the 1 would repeat. So 5 is not there. Great. So we get a 5 in the middle. 5 is in one of those 2 squares. 2, 4, 5. These squares are 6, 7 or 8. So B is 6, 7 or 8. But we don't know which direction it goes, so I can't even remove 6 as a possibility. Going vertically. Okay. This 1 has given me the value of H of all things. I didn't need AC12 after all. That gives me a 2 and a 4 there. This 4, is that useful? So removing a 4 from that one. Those 2 are adding up to 10. I've remembered that, so that's not a 6. In fact, there's a 3 here, so that's not a 3, which means that's not a 7. So, in fact, that's... look, 2. I found a 4, 5 pair in the column out of nowhere. That gives me a 6, 8 pair in the rest of the column. And that gives me diddly squat by the looks of things. Okay. We're slowly getting there, aren't we? With a heavy emphasis on the word slow. 2 in this box is fixed by Sudoku again. 2's got to be in one of those squares now. This 3, 4 pair means that's not a 4. This is a 6 or an 8. This is a 6, 7 or 8. What have I not used? I think that's probably a sensible question to ask. E. Got you. Got you. I've not used E. Now E is... this digit's irrelevant. What we're looking for is how many digits we need to make up the total of 10 from the E clue. Now those 2 squares cannot add up to 10, ergo this square cannot be a 9. And that might be helpful. 9 is now fixed in those 2 columns. What a puzzle. And these 3 squares have to add up to 10 now. There's only one way of doing that without using the 1, 2, 3 and 5. This is beautiful. So that goes like that. That goes like that. And we're cooking with the gas. That's not 2. 4, 5 pair. This is a 2. That's going to impact on C. Come back up here. So these add up to 12. These 2 have to add up to 10. We can get rid of the 8. We can get rid of the 6 from this one. 4, 6 pair gives us an 8 here. That's an irrelevant 8, except that it gets us that 6. Because, of course, this 8 was just contributing itself to the sandwich total. But, actually, let's have a look at the row. Because I need 4 and I need 6 into those squares. I've got a 4, yes. 4, 6. 7, 8 pair gives us a 6 here. There's a 6 in one of those 2 squares. There is a 4 in one of these 2 squares. Those 2 squares have got to be 5 and 8, which we can do by Sudoku. That gives us a 6, that gives us an 8. B. I haven't done B, have I? Oh, but B, I now know where the 9 is. So these 2 squares have to add up to that one. I don't believe it. 4, 2 and 5, 2. Give 6 and 7 as the options. This is not resolved. That is a surprise. This square is a 6 or a 7 by Sudoku. So this column needs 4 and 8. I don't believe it. That's not resolved. This is a 4 or an 8. Did I get... K was the thing I wanted to look at. Because there's a relationship now between these 3 squares and this square. So here we've got 9 plus 7, which is 16. That square can't be a 6. Perfect. Hopefully this can be an 8. That's then 17, which means this is a 7. That looks possible. That makes that a 4 by Sudoku. The 4 and the 6 go in. The 6 goes here. The 6 goes here. This 6, which is a 5 here. We know those 2 squares add up to 10, so we can place the 5 and the 4. That's a 7, using Sudoku again. These 2 squares must be 8 and something. 8, oh, where's my scanning gone? It's gone to pot. 3 and 8. Okay, 3, 8. We've got to put 5 and 8 here, so 5 and 8 go in. 8 is not here. That's a bit of an interesting pattern. 6, 7 deadly pattern, presumably, yes, now fixed, in fact, by the value of B, which I've got this 5 at some point. That's now fixing this as 7, fixing this as 7, fixing this as 6, this is 6. This is 7 by Sudoku. Those should be 5 and 8, which we can do. That 8's fixing the 4, the 8. That's an 8 and that's a 7. And that, I think, is the puzzle solved. What a great puzzle. Let me click tick. Yes. Fantastic. Quinlux does it again. These puzzles of his are absolute. They're a joy to solve. I think I butchered that one a little bit. I think I was really held up by not spotting this was an F. Because this sort of quadruple 3 pattern was incredibly useful, but I just didn't see it, so sorry. Let me know in the comments how you got on, and thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.